What's going on YouTube? It's Big Dev and we're back again with another MLB The Show 23 video. Today we're going to be dropping a guide video specifically requested by a lot of my viewers over on Twitch and TikTok. A lot of people have been asking me for my hitting tips, my hitting settings, any tips I can give you. I went ahead and wrote them all down that I can think of. I brainstormed and I'm going to show you guys what I do personally to get better at hitting the baseball in MLB The Show 23. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright guys, so the first thing you're going to want to do when it comes to hitting the ball better in MLB The Show, come over here to your settings, go down to sliders. Okay, you're going to want to adjust the offline pitch speeds. So fastball pitch speed, off speed pitch speed. Turn them up to about here. You can do here, doesn't really matter, here or here. And then save those sliders as your practice settings. Now remember, if you're going to play offline for some XP or Road to the Show, make sure you change your sliders back to the normal setting so that you don't miss out on any XP. But when you're practicing, load these sliders in like this, because when you're practicing offline, the pitch speeds are slower. So like for example, if you're playing on All-Star offline, it's slower than All-Star online. So my recommendation would be bring your pitch speed sliders up. Okay, so you save that and then go over to your difficulties as well. So your gameplay difficulty, you're gonna want to put this on whatever level. We don't really need pitching difficulty because it's just hitting, but for hitting difficulty, you're going to want to put it on whatever level that you play out online. Put it one above that. So if you are consistently playing Battle Royale, which is on All-Star, practice on Hall of Fame, just so you're getting realistic pitch speeds offline. That would be my recommendation, because if you practice on All-Star offline, it's going to seem faster online. It always does seem faster online. So definitely always practice one above. I normally practice on Hall of Fame with the pitch speeds up. If I'm practicing for, like, if I hit Hall of Fame and ranked, which I do often, I'll up it to Legend sometimes. But I'll also, like, if I'm on Legend though offline, I'll also go back into my sliders. I'll go back into my sliders and I will adjust them down a little bit, because Legend with these sliders up is crazy. I mean, you can do it. For me, if I'm going to be hitting on Legend often and I put these sliders up, then I would leave the sliders there if I want to practice for Legend. But I would put it on Legend, then I would kind of bring the sliders down just a little bit. That's just me personally, just so I get a more realistic feel of the pitches. But yeah, like I said, first thing you want to do, change those sliders and change that difficulty to one higher than what you normally play at. Alright guys, so next thing you're going to want to do, come down here to custom practice. Now don't worry, this is not just a tutorial on how to practice. I'm going to also throw in tips of how I hit once we get into the practice mode. I just want to make sure I cover all my bases and make sure you guys know exactly how I set up my practice sessions for when I'm trying to warm up for MLB. It doesn't really matter what team you choose for yourself. Normally, I choose like either like the Boomers, the Beasts. I think the Boomers are the ones that have Nolan Ryan. For me personally, when I practice, I like to practice against Nolan Ryan because he has the fastest pitches in the game, it seems. His pitches come in super fast. So he's on the Boomers here. So usually what I do is I'll use the Yankees. It's my favorite team. Doesn't really matter who you guys use. And then I practice against the Boomers. That way I can face Nolan Ryan and some of the top pitchers that you're going to face online. Obviously, like, not a lot of people are, I mean, Nolan Ryan's not really in the game right now, so not a lot of people are using him, but later in the game, it's better to pitch against somebody with high velocity, because that's what most people struggle with. If you don't really struggle with hitting high velocity, then, you know, tailor this to whatever your needs are, whatever your pitches are. But, you know, Nolan has sinker, fastball, and that's a big thing that people struggle with, so I usually play against the Boomers. Alright guys, so we're in practice mode here. It's going to start you off in pitching. I go to practice options here. And actually, hold on. Go here. You're gonna hit your pause. Practice type. You're gonna do batting. And now you're gonna be facing whoever you want. Like I said, I usually face Nolan Ryan because he has sinker, fastball. A lot of people like to spam those inside. So what I'll do is I'll up the pitch frequency for those, and I'll lower the pitch frequency for these. And you can tailor this like however you need. You know, like if you struggle against changeups in the dirt, just do changeups. You know, do changeups. And then select low here, like select the low. So like if you're struggling at changeups in the dirt, make sure you do circle changeups and then just watch the pitches come in over and over and over again, like, so you can kind of identify, you know, what changeup is going to be a strike and what's not going to be a strike. That's the, you know, you just have to kind of tailor it to what you're struggling with. Me personally, I always do sinker and four seam inside a lot of the times. If I'm like struggling like specifically with those pitches, I warm up that way. Another way that I like to warm up is I'll just do regular, you know, I'll let him throw whatever he wants, pitch frequency for whatever, and then I'll select all the zones, or I won't even select any zones, so I can kind of identify balls and strikes. If you're having difficulty identifying balls and strikes, you know, don't select any of the zones for pitch locations, and then like let him just pitch you whatever, and kind of just like see and identify like, you know, what pitches are where. Okay, so that's just kind of the overview of what I do for setting up the practice mode. It's all depending on what I'm going through currently in the game. If I'm struggling seeing the ball, you know, I'm gonna set it up just like this, where he's gonna throw balls and strikes. If I'm struggling inside velocity pitches, I'm gonna select all inside zones here, and then I'm gonna do sinker fastball, you know. And you can select out of the zone too. So like if you're struggling, like say you're struggling with a slider away, right? If you're struggling seeing that, you can literally select these zones right here, and if the pitcher has a slider, you can turn his slider all the way up and all the other pitches all the way down. That way, like, as you see more and more pitches, your eye is going to train itself. Your eye is going to train itself at the plate. You're going to start like subconsciously just recognizing pitches before they even get anywhere close to the plate, and you're going to be able to hit the ball a lot better. It's just a matter of going into practice, even for just like 10 minutes a day. You don't have to sit here for hours at a time. You know, 10 minutes a day before you get into a ranked game, before you go online, just sit here and practice. It's nothing crazy. You could even do this like, and if you want more live BP options, I usually will go in events or something like that and practice in events. It's just all about putting some work in, putting some time in to become a better hitter in MLB The Show. It's not just going to come overnight, but make sure you're practicing with what you're struggling with. That's my main suggestion to y'all. All right, guys, so when I'm hitting, I use strike zone 2. I think it's the best view for me personally. For you guys, I just suggest that you guys use either strike zone 2, strike zone high, or just plain strike zone for hitting. I think those are the best 3 in the game. As long as you're using any variation of those, I think you should be fine to be a good hitter. Like, some people use zoom, they zoom out, they like seeing the whole batter. Personally, when I'm playing competitively online, as long as I can see a little bit of the batter's stride, that helps with my timing. So strike zone 2 is really good for me because it's zoomed out a little bit. It's not as zoomed in as strike zone, where you can't even see the batter. So with strike zone 2, it helps you kind of see his stride. Let me show you here. We back out. All right, so we got Volpe here at the mound. You can kind of see his stride and time it, right? So we got our sliders up. That ball's going to be coming in fast. That ball's going to be coming in way fast for you guys. You're going to get used to it though, trust me. And when the pitches are coming in that fast offline, when you go online, you're going to be mashing. All right, now let me kind of take you guys through what I do when I'm hitting or I'm struggling to hit, okay? So he's just going to pitch pitches out of the zone right now. I'm going to try to time it up. Let me actually get this to so where he's throwing them in the zone real quick. What I normally do. Let me get my setup real quick. Okay, so we're going to do inside pitches here. Apply those. He'll throw all inside strikes now. So what I do is, since I know he's going to throw inside strikes, I'm just going to sit here and anchor my PCI inside as a crutch. I actually have anchor turned off. That's one of the suggestions that I would give to you guys, is to turn off anchor, like anchoring your PCI, because I feel like that's used as a crutch for most people. And like when you anchor your PCI, I feel like it's kind of handicapping you a little bit. I like to keep my thumb free and easy, move it around the zone, kind of keep it, you know, where it needs to be. But like I said, when you're practicing offline, this is going to get a little tricky because the ball's going to come in really fast with these settings, but eventually you'll get it. Like, I'm really early right now because I'm thinking he's going to throw fastballs, but he's throwing sinkers. Anyway, so for my timing, what I do is I do a 3-tick method. So when the pitcher's giving his delivery, he gives it in like 3 like subtle motions. Like, watch, when he's about to give his delivery, this is what I do in my mind real quick. Tick, 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 and then I swing, you know? So we were there. The timing was there. We were early, but the timing was better. You know, I wasn't super early. Tick, 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 boom. Okay, so that we're on it. Like, timing is good now. When I was talking to you guys earlier and missing my swings, I wasn't really focusing on the timing. But for me, you gotta kind of have an internal timing mechanism. I call it the 3-tick method. You use the 3-tick method, you're gonna be on the pitches more often. Tick, tick, tick. It's different for every pitcher. And like I said, you're not going to be crushing the ball in these practices, dude. Like, this is practice. As you can see for me, I'm not crushing the ball. I'm barely even hitting the ball, but we're playing on Legend with sliders all the way up. You know what I mean? So like, it's supposed to be hard, guys. Like, but trust me, when your practices are hard online, you're going to be smashing. So if I go and I play Hall of Fame difficulty online right now, my timing is going to be there, and it's going to be it's gonna look like the pitches are coming in so slow for me that it's gonna be so much easier to hit. So that's like key, definite key for that. All right, guys, so let's do some more of the 3-tick method real quick, just so I can kind of help you understand my timing mechanism. So when the pitcher is delivering his pitch, all pitchers deliver it differently based on their windup, but you can kind of identify. He sets back, that's 1 tick, 2 ticks there, and then the delivery is the 3rd tick. So when he sets back on his foot, right? He sets back, we'll watch it again, tick, and then he comes forward, that's a tick, and then a 3rd tick, boom. It's nothing like, it's not like, a secret, it's just something I kind of developed in my brain to watch for. 3 ticks, 1, 2, 3, and then he's gonna throw it. So when you're watching a pitcher, just kind of analyze his motion, and that's gonna help you time his pitches a lot better. That's definitely one of the big tips I can give you if you're struggling with timing. Now, once you've kind of got your timing down, you're gonna want to watch the ball out of his hand every time. So like it's gonna come out right here, right? Oh, sorry. Comes over a little bit to the left here. So with Nolan's delivery, he releases it like right here. I just watch that spot when he comes on his follow through, and it helps you track the pitch all the way in. Instead of like, a lot of people, what they do is they watch their PCI. They watch their PCI, or they just look straight at the pitcher and not at the ball. So make sure you're tracking it right when that ball comes into view out of his hand, so you can track the pitch all the way in and have a better chance at hitting it. All right, so I have it set to fastballs and sinkers inside right now. So, I mean, like I said, you guys aren't gonna make solid contact every time, but if you're making some contact, that's good for this, because it's crazy buffed offline practicing is what I like to call it. Like, you buffed your settings, your sliders are up, you're playing a difficulty above, like the ball's coming in quick for y'all. So don't get discouraged if you're not gonna make contact on every single pitch. Like, he's throwing dots, it's not gonna be easy, but when you get it down, you'll get it down. After 10 minutes, you usually can hit the ball a little bit better. We're a little early right now, but like I said, just sit here and practice. Like, watch the ball all the way in, use that tick method, tick, 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 boom. Like, our timing is there, and we're even early on it. Like, so we're ready for the pitch, and we're making solid contact. So that's what we're looking for. Make solid contact, be ready for the pitch. Now, another timing method you can use is if you have a hitting view where you can see the batter's stride, it kind of helps you time up the pitch. So Volpe is not the greatest example of stride. Let me try to change somebody out here. Okay, so we switched out Volpe for Gleyber Torres because his leg kicks a little bit higher, and I just want to be able to show you guys, like, with a stride, how to time the pitch. So as you can see, when he kicks his leg up like that, it's usually as the pitcher is delivering the baseball. So when his foot's coming down, that's when you would swing. Like, that's when you would swing for the pitch. We mistimed it there. But like I said, you're gonna watch the tick, tick, tick of the pitcher's delivery. Tick, 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 kick up, and then you're gonna swing. Like, when his foot comes down, like right after that foot comes down, that should be your timing piece for timing it up. You know what I mean? So once that foot comes down, the ball's gonna be there to swing. So the stride is also good for timing up the pitches. See what I mean? Boom. We were just late on that, but that's a good swing. Good swing on the fastball inside. Again, like, in my mind, I kind of do subconsciously now, so it's really hard for me to kind of describe to you guys as it's happening what's going on. But if I'm sitting at the plate, right, and I'm struggling, ranked, whatever, I will then break down to my fundamentals of, like, hitting the baseball in this game. So, like, if I'm, like, struggling, I'm like, okay, so what am I doing wrong? Let me start from the basics. All right, 3-tick method. Tick, 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 and then I just start swinging. Like, I break it down. What am I not doing? Am I not tracking the ball out of the pitcher's hand? So I'll start with the 3-tick method for my timing. If I'm off of my timing, if I'm, like, not seeing the ball well at all, I gotta focus up and make sure I'm watching the ball out of his hand. Just breaking down the fundamentals for hitting each time, and then going through and identifying what you're struggling with. Like, that is a good swing. We were early on it, but who cares? We're literally piecing that up. Like, we're right there with the PCI placement. All right, now let's get into PCI placement for y'all. This just comes with practice. There's no surefire way to make your PCI, go to the ball every time. Even the best players swing and miss all the time. But a good start is to have a control freak. Have a control freak on whatever stick you use to control your PCI. Definitely always use zone hitting, obviously, with PCI. If you're struggling with it, change up your PCI. Just because everyone's using bat PCI right now in MLB The Show doesn't mean that you have to. I tried to use the bat PCI. I personally didn't like it. I wasn't hitting well with it, so I switched my PCI back to what I'm used to, which is wedge and circles on the inner, and it works out great for me. Whatever your PCI is that you're hitting well with, use it and experiment with different stuff. Don't just go online and watch a YouTube video that says the best hitting settings. Like, the only thing that can come out of that is really like strike zone views. Like, that's the best hitting setting, is the camera view. But as far as PCI, it's all personal preference of what allows you personally to see the ball the best and hit the ball the best. If someone's like, this bat PCI is so OP, like there's no, in my opinion, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as an OP PCI. It just has to do with what allows you as a person to see the ball the best way possible. Okay, so if you're struggling hitting, change up your PCI. That would be the first thing I would do. If you're in a slump, I change my PCI and I get out of my slump, and then maybe I default back to what I'm good with. You know, it's just all about adjusting to what you're struggling with, just like in real baseball. If someone's struggling at the plate, they change something. Maybe they bring their leg back a little bit in their stance. Maybe they start their load a little differently. Like, it's just all about preference of what you can do to get out of that slump just to hit better. But of course, I'm going to keep giving you guys tips, but again, like with PCI, just go with what you're comfortable with. All right, now for PCI placement though, other than practice, I'm going to take you through what I do pre-pitch to kind of keep my PCI loose. Now, I mentioned earlier, don't use PCI anchor. I think it's a crutch. I wouldn't use it. I would keep your PCI, you know, towards the center. Now, you can personally anchor it yourself, like move it and hold it where like you think they're gonna throw the pitch. You could do that. I do that sometimes when my opponent is spamming in a certain area. So if my opponent is spamming like low and away, I'll kind of like start my thumb up a little bit and then I'll sit down here, right before he delivers the ball. Okay, so like I always keep my thumb loose with like little circles, or like maybe bigger circles if I'm struggling to hit the outside of the zone, my PCI. But if I notice that he's spamming, like I have it set to fastball inside right now. If I notice my opponent's doing this in a ranked game or in real life, I'll literally do a little loosen up and I'll sit inside. I'll sit inside and I'll try to hit it, you know? Like, again, you're not gonna hit it every time, guys. Like, baseball is meant for failure. Like, the best hitters usually hit 300, and that's only like 30%. So, again, you're not gonna be cracked out of your mind after a couple practice sessions, but I recommend, like I said, practice 10 minutes every day and you'll be good. But let me take you through what I would do pre-pitch. Okay, so as the ball is coming in, as he's delivering, I will move my thumb a little in circles to try to keep my thumb loose and try to, you know, just keep it loose. And then right before, oh my God, that was crushed. Right before the pitcher delivers the pitch, I stop moving. So I'll keep it loose, little circle, stop, and boom. Okay, so again, like, I don't think you should be moving as all the way through his delivery because it's not going to help you focus. See what I mean? Like, I was moving there until the pitch came in. I wasn't focused on the pitch and where it was coming, and I missed it. So personally, like, keep your thumb loose. Don't use PCI anchor. Make sure you're like moving it around just a little bit, whatever you feel like doing, and then boom, stop as it comes in. So that would be a good test for your PCI placement. Don't keep your PCI super active as the ball is coming in, but it's okay to keep your thumb loose before he's delivering the pitch. So that's tip number 1 for that. All right, guys, another tip I can give y'all for PCI placement. Like I said in the previous tip, keeping your thumb active, making sure you're not anchoring your PCI in a certain spot. You know, like I said, you can anchor it with your own, you know, manually if someone's spamming inside or spamming outside, but I wouldn't anchor it and just let it sit there, you know? So the whole point of PCI placement is making sure your thumb stays active and not relying on an anchor as a crutch, okay? So if somebody's coming high a lot with their pitches, or low, or like away, what I'll do is I won't like fully extend my PCI up into that spot. I won't like sit all the way up here, but what I will do is I'll kind of keep it active, and right before the pitch comes in, say he's spamming high and in. So right before the pitch comes in, I'll keep it active, and then I'll do this little slight adjustment up here. You see what I mean? Like a little bit. Say he's spamming inside and up and in. So like I said, I will adjust it a little bit up, but not all the way, okay? All the way, and like overextending your PCI to start I feel like is a good way to just slam it or completely miss the ball. For me anyway. Like if I start all the way up here, and like I often do that. I did that on purpose, but just to give you an example, I often do this thing where I get too excited and I swing way too early, or I slam my PCI down. So if I keep my thumb active enough and then just do a little adjustment up or down and in or wherever I think the next pitch is coming, that's better for me personally. That's better for me personally. So that's another tip for you guys for PCI placement. All right, guys. So when you're practicing in this mode with the sliders up like that and one difficulty above what you're normally used to, it's going to be highly exaggerated. The ball's going to be coming in super fast. So even if you're not making insane, like perfect contact on every ball that comes in, what you're going to want to focus on is that PCI placement. Even if you miss the ball, was your PCI on the ball? Because more than likely when we come online and hit at, you know, the ball's going to be coming in slower. If your PCI was on the ball online, that's probably going to be a hit, just because we're practicing in such an exaggerated fashion that when you go online, it's going to seem so easy to you. It's going to come second nature to you. As long as you're focusing on PCI placement on pitches that you're struggling with or whatever whatever method you're practicing, you're going to do a lot better. Like that is not the greatest PCI placement, but we made some contact. We were just late. That's probably going to be good timing online because of how exaggerated it is. So again, like let's watch this here. He's going to pitch to us. Right there. Look where my PCI placement is. I was late because of how fast it's coming in. But look at the PCI placement. It's literally right on the ball. It's perfect. The PCI placement there was perfect because we're just practicing. So online, that's going to be a hit. Like it is, because we're playing in such an exaggerated fashion with the sliders all the way up on a difficulty above we normally play. Like you're crushing that ball online. You know what I mean? So don't get discouraged by not hitting a ton of perfects in practice. You know, obviously by the end of your practice session, you're going to want to be making consistent contact, being able to hit the ball a little bit, you know, making contact, but also focus on that PCI placement, because again, we're practicing in an exaggerated fashion. If your PCI is on the ball, even if you were early or late or whatever, more than likely online, the ball's gonna be coming in slower, but your PCI is gonna be right on it and you're gonna have a lot more time to swing, you know, so it's gonna be a good hit for y'all. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope some of these tips help you out. Don't forget the 3-tick method. Watch your batter's stride, change your settings, practice in an exaggerated fashion, you know, whatever you have to do. Don't use PCI anchor, just kind of summing up, you know, the top tips we got here. And again, when it comes to hitting, it's just gonna take time for y'all. Put in the time, put in the work, put in the practice, play the game more. The more you play the game, the more you're gonna recognize, hey, this pitch is probably coming next, or my opponent's doing this. This is probably coming. It just comes from baseball IQ as well, just playing the game and understanding it more. But these are my basic hitting tips and kind of like what I did to become a better hitter in the game. I'm not a top player by any means, but I am a good player at MLB The Show. So definitely, I hope these tips helped you out. If they did, please like, subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any questions. If you have a question, if you're struggling with a certain thing online hitting, leave a comment. Maybe I can help you out. But have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.